Listen right here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM and other participating radio stations and media outlets. That is happening this coming Monday, and the Prime Minister will zoom in on the Sustainable Economic Expansion Diversification Seed, which is a pillar, or a key pillar rather, of the journey towards St. Kitts and Nevis becoming a sustainable island state. And as you know, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis is pursuing the Sustainable Island State agenda and looking at a number of areas for improvement. Happening later today, the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force is set to host a press conference at 2 p.m. to update the Federation on a number of matters pertaining to investigations and so on. Yesterday, they announced that there will be host conference at 2 p.m. to provide key updates on national security efforts and matters of community concern for the first half of 2025. Members of the public and the press are invited to tune in or to tune in live as we share developments, address concerns, and reaffirm our commitment to transparency, accountability, and public safety. So that's happening later today at 2 p.m. and the police commissioner and his team are set to provide updates on matters of community concern for the first half of 2025. And when we open the phone lines, I'd like to hear from you some of the things that you would like for the police to address in the press conference later today. I know that they are listening, but some things that you like for the police to address in the press conference today. I would like for the police to hold more press conferences, update the public and members of the press as it relates to national security efforts, as they mentioned. What I can tell you is, and as I mentioned on a previous program, of course, there are certain matters that the police would not be able to provide every detail. They're not going to be able to get into every single detail for every single case in an effort to protect and preserve the integrity of the investigation and to protect the investigation. Nevertheless, it doesn't mean that they should not hold these important conferences, press conferences, to update members of the public as to what is happening and where they are with certain matters. And so again, that is happening this afternoon at 2 p.m. and it will be live on ZIZ Radio, TV, and social media, as well as other participating radio stations. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on The Edge. Stay tuned.
You've worked hard to build your dream home. Now it's time to protect it with ICWI's A-Plus homeowners policy. From hurricane damage to unexpected losses, we've got you covered with the best homeowners protection in the region. Protect your most valuable asset with coverage for what matters most when it matters the most. ICWI, we know insurance. You know you're protected. ICWI, serving you is all we do. Click, call, or visit ICWI today. Visit us at 1C Bird Rock Road. Call 465-8753 or ICWI.com.
Welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today. For those of you who are tuning, okay, we have a caller for the morning. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Good morning.
Morning, Devonne.
Good morning. Good morning.
No, last night the heat nearly killed me. Electricity went over in New Town. Not a breeze. Now I think they know the public know who's supposed to. They know where the elderly live, right? And they know where their condition of accommodation and access to funds. And when there is no electricity, there is no fan, no nothing, no econ, no nothing. I don't know if it should be NEMA or the Ministry of Things. They could distribute some thing with ice. I remember that's the most they could do, you understand? Or give some pieces of cardboard to fan with. No, yeah, funny, you know. Man laughed at water.
Come on, man.
You
don't have a...
Cardboard with a fan with.
No, stop it. You don't have cardboard in your house?
You know, long.
I'm pretty sure the average person has a piece of cardboard in their house, a book cover. You really think NEMA could go around and distribute cardboard to people across St. Kitts?
So you don't be there,
or something with ice? By the time I get to you, the ice can melt.
So let me continue.
Man, we gotta be realistic and practical. Come on.
Look, I am. Let me congratulate the police. The other 2 nights before, I was looking for him last night. One, his name is. Anyway, he said he was walking to the area, so he stopped by my home and calmly, family or whatever. Anyway, you know me spoke. I said, well, last night with all of this hours of darkness, the heat I sure was in the 80s or the 90s. And I had a problem. Well, God bless my neighbors. I have some good neighbors, right? One named Barbara and one named Charlotte. Those 2 in particular, I could make them do anything for me. Well, I had my front door, in back with them to let in here. Next thing, down came the rain, and I can't find nobody. So where is my good police? Now let me get to the police. Was there a murder yesterday or this morning in Harpertree?
Not to my knowledge, no. There was a shooting incident.
Oh, the person didn't die?
Not to my knowledge.
Now something seriously needs to be done. You have a lot of these in the same area. What you have is revenge killing. So therefore, to me, they should use their resources to meet with the people, because I think the first killing of their people took place up in Newtown. And so everybody, we like revenge. We don't believe in turning next cheek and forgiving. And everybody wants to avenge their family. That's not going to leave anybody standing. If I think it is you, if they had proof that they carried them station. Oh, I hear you killed my brother, so I killed you. Then his brother killed you. But where are we heading? Something serious got to be done when these things keep occurring so close in a certain area.
What would you suggest? What would you suggest?
I suggest that they carry them, whether they comfort zone. I mean, the people who have influence, right? We have this, what they call it, counseling. They need counseling. Round up the young men, them, find out what exactly is the problem. Because we can't just be accounting bodies. Because that's what we're doing, You realize that?
Mm-hmm.
And our people we have lost all kind of sensitivity. Oh, it's another one God. Another one God. is a soul, a body. To that person is connected to another set of people. You know, so we need to do something and stop the counting. Now, this thing about the economic. We need, and let me say it again, we need a well-equipped, trained economic council. We keep coming up with, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. What is the long-term plan? What is the plan? Not where we want to, not we want to. I want the government, I tell Dr. Joe, get an economic council. I don't mean advisors. Because some of them not even trained in microeconomics. How they going to do macro?
So what is the difference between an economic council and a set of economic advisors?
How many advisors are economists? I mean trained economists. See the young lady, the lady who called in after me last week? She's an economist.
Right, so I'm asking you, what's the difference between...
Yeah, the fellow, Joe Bar, whatever they call him. You don't have to get up and say, just leave it as economist, you know?
No, I'm not disputing that, Miss Henry. But I'm asking you, what is the difference between an economic council and a set of economic advisors? If I have, let's say I have 3 economic advisors.
Economic advisors would be suitable if they were trained, not just in past economics, so trained in doing economic analysis. I played Barbados and Jamaica. Jamaica have independent ones. You know, one time ago at CIBC, when Mr. Heiliger was here, there was an economic council.
Okay, so you're saying the economic advisors we have in St. Kitts and Nevis are
I don't know. Only one name I hear is economist.
That work with the Prime Minister are not trained?
What did I just tell you?
No, I'm asking if that's what you're saying.
I'm sorry I'm blind, you know, because I've been able to advise him. I'm really serious.
Okay.
I've been trained in so many economic analysis.
All right.
You know, understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know when you're trained. By the way, how up go university?
Well, we want to take some more. We want to take some more calls. So thank you.
Now, when he's going to give this speech,
we want to take some more calls. So thank you so much for your contribution to the program. It is 11:20, and you're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio, 96.1 FM. Let's head back to the phone lines, and we'll take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hello.
Do not seriously stress you.
No, man, it ain't gonna stress me.
She had a limit, you know. She will want to talk. And when you're asking her something, she can find you.
All right, thank you for your contribution. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Devon.
Yes, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning to the good people at St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, Devon, you said something there where I was always agitating that and Carl Brown. The High Command of the Police Force need to keep these things more. They need to come to the country. Stop sitting down and things that happen and people are slaughter and bad man feel they could take over the country. We don't need that. And I'm asking them to do some community interaction down there in the Godwin God area. Now, what happened down there yesterday is uncalled for, and genuine Kittian is not going to tolerate these kind of things. We had a camp, all of we is one. Where we doing this thing to one another for? Come on, Devon. I saw a thing yesterday down at the port. And the former Deputy Commissioner Adams, I personally talked to him about that. Nobody can dispute the police from doing the work. But when you see cruise ship down there, we don't want the police down there with an assault rifle to scare the people and to go back on the ship. People paying big money down there for rent. And yesterday I saw something down there, and I will approve of that. And I want the commissioner to hear me. And no, we're not going to tolerate it. They got roast down there doing a fairly good job. If you come for a man, take them from the back and carry them on the eastern side and touch them out. You don't want them kind of things down there when shipping. The next thing I want to talk about, Devon, is that we have to look out for this country. We have a national security down there. Seems to be like they just giving people the preference to come in here and just walk. And we locals, them can't get to walk. And me, I'm going to play with them things. I've used about it in the past, and I will abuse about it in the future. We is not going to tolerate this thing. Think it's nervous youngsters that who drop out of school in McKnight and Irish Town and various places around the country deserve a penny in the country. Come on! What the hell are you doing down there, national security? Get on the ground and hear the choir, hear the talks. Come to the Circus University who is next to you and understand what's going on in the country. Just don't sit up in the office and do as I damn right. Devon, this is Jam Down. Have a good morning.
All right, you too, Jam Down, and thank you so much for the contribution. Let's head back to the phone lines. We'll take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Good morning.
Could you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Could you speak up?
I can't hear you so good. Anyway, you can hear me listening. This program is a call-in program, and if people know they have things to say, why they don't call it and say, I'm trouble with woman? The woman ain't trouble with them. Okay, next day, I didn't have no current yesterday, so I couldn't call in. And Congress was saying that he gonna bring in smart meters. How she's so smart, up now don't come. They go away, father tell them what to do, grandfather and father-in-law, and up to now, they ain't come back to the stupid kitchen to tell Harry not to see you. And the king, something in your part want fixing.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution. It's 11:24. We have a caller.
If I may, Devon, good morning to everyone. To Jam Down, I think his name was. You know, I've always listened when he called into the show. I just want to know how into social media are you? Because if you're into social media, then you would know that there are persons, so-called news pages that put out narratives to people who are overseas. And if the high command of the police force decide that to show them that, hey, if you come off the boat, you do not have to worry about anything because we have armed police officers here, you cannot really and truly knock that when you have other agents out there saying St. Kitts and Nevis is the murder capital of the world and you can't come to St. Kitts because of crime and this and that. So it's a case of darn if the police do and darn if the police don't. I just wanted to put that out there to him because I don't know if he's a social media person, so he may not be aware of what is being put out there on social media. So if you're if you have these things being put out on social media like this, the police have to react in such a way so that when the visitors come off the cruise ship, they know that, hey, we are safe. There are armed police there, and everywhere. And just to add something to that, you go in places in America, I'm quite sure you see police walking around with, you know what I mean, they got their guns, and so if it's a hot spot, they have their guns, their grenade, the smoke grenade launchers, everything. So if the high command is trying to give the tourists a sense of security, who are we to tell them how to do it when we have agents out there saying otherwise?
And you know, and as you mentioned that if they don't, then it's going to be another conversation, you know. But let's head back to the phone lines. We have a caller. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Yes, Devon.
Yes,
this
yes.
is Jam Down again.
Yes.
See? That caller there, they must take themselves and come down the port. You have roads down there, have everything under control. If you're looking for somebody, you don't gotta come down there with an assault rifle. People paying big money for rent. When the tourists see assault rifle don't represent them going back to the damn ship. Who's commissioner before he knows that? Who the hell is he? Who is he? He helping these Indians fellow, right? They won't have a good morning, you hear? Just say walk and chat a lot of nonsense. This is Jam Down, come and face me, come at the circle we have a one-on-one.
All right, caller. We have another caller? Okay. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Yes.
Yes. I think I come down on the side of John Down in this one. I don't think it's necessary to be patrolling a place like Port Zante with assault rifles, assuming that is right, that there are assault rifles. I assume you mean those long machine guns and so on, not a sidearm. Okay? It is not a good look for a tourist destination to look like a police or militarized state, or that something. If you come off a ship and you're seeing people patrolling with those kinds of guns, you're automatically going to be thinking a certain way, and it's not going to be positive. Okay? Of course, there should be police patrols, but I think a sidearm is sufficient. Generally speaking, around the world, police are normally expected to carry guns. It's not like once ago, right? But not guns like that, right? It suggests that something is radically wrong when you see guns like that in a what is supposed to be a tourist area. And if it's any place that I think they should have plainclothes people, it's down there, okay? Because you preserve the look of a tourist destination and still ensure security and safety with plainclothes people, right? Have just one or two police, guns out so that people don't feel it's a free-for-all, and certainly it would deter some would-be criminals, but not assault rifles, man. I'm sure we've been to places and see that kind of show of force, and we don't like it. You know, we don't. It doesn't make you feel safe. It makes you feel very cautious, very suspicious, and not wanting to venture further into the destination. That's my point of view.
All right. I have a guest joining at 11:35 thereabout, so we can take maybe just one more call before we do that, but we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Let's take a break now.
Of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
Make me some music.
Listen, you hear the song? It's Nostalgia on ZIZ Radio from 1 to 3 in the afternoon on Thursdays. On Nostalgia, everybody has a good voice, so relax and go in the zone with us. Get your songbook, look in the index, find the song that is playing, and sing along. Join ZIZ Radio every Thursday from 1 to 3 for Nostalgia. It's music to soothe you right where it is. ZIZ Radio, touching you with variety and style.
Welcome back to the Edge on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today. It's 11:35, and the phone lines remain open at 465-1977 or 1903 or 662-8674. We are standing by for Dr. Wayne Archibald of Green Solutions International SKN Incorporated. But in the meantime, we'll continue our conversation and we'll head back to the phone lines with this call. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hello,
yes, good morning. You're on the air. I'm not hearing you clearly. Could you speak up?
I'm calling you from the States and you're very bad connection. I can barely hear you.
Yes, I could barely hear you, caller. You'd have to probably call back, but I'm not hearing you clearly for us to continue the conversation.
But you don't give a currency to talk.
No, I can't hear you, so I don't know what you're saying. So call us back. All right? Okay. Yes, it's 11:35 and you're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. With regards to what the caller... previous callers said before, I understand where they're coming from. Let me say that first. I understand where they're coming from, with regards to the patrolling happening at Port Zante. But we were having a conversation off air, Cupid, and I want to bring it on air. And you made the point that when you go to Buckingham Palace, you see the same thing.
Yep.
You see the rifles and the guards. I was in front of the White House last year, and I saw the snipers. I didn't see the snipers, but the shotgun. Several police officers, dogs, everything. And this was in the height of the elections. This was in the middle of the elections, actually.
And those places are tourist attractions.
And they are tourist attractions. Yes, it's an official residence, but tourists, people come from all over the world to visit Buckingham Palace, to visit the White House and other areas. So there are tourist attractions that are heavily guarded. They are heavily guarded. And so it's not going to be any different with whether it be Port Zante or any other port or tourist attraction or destination in the Caribbean.
If a patrol is to be had, a patrol is to be had. Like we are looking at the makeup down here, which might consist of maybe 4 to 5 officers, or maybe 2 or 3 officers and 2 soldiers. I saw this at music festival. When I was in the smoking lounge sitting down, I saw about 4 or 5 officers pass, and one of them had an assault rifle. And this was music festival, and they were rocking through the crowd and, policing. So I don't see, it sounded like the caller was saying that they came down there to look for someone. I don't see being prepared as an issue because you never know. And if there's an accident and the fire truck goes on scene and they don't have the jaws of life, you know what they're going to say? Oh, they weren't prepared, they were trained differently, blah, blah, blah. So if the officers now are going to look for someone, if they deem that that person warrants them to have that kind of, firearm gun on them, who are we to say no? But if you're looking at it as the whole tourist thing, as we said, you go to the White House, it is heavily fortified. It is heavily fortified. That's just all I am saying.
Yeah. All right. It is 11:37. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation with Dr. Wayne Archibald of Green Solutions International, St. Kitts Nevis. Welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me in the program for today, Thursday, July 3rd. In studio with me morning is Dr. Wayne Archibald, the founder and executive of Green Solutions International SKN Incorporated. Dr. Archibald, welcome to the show. What inspired you to dedicate your career to green energy and sustainability? And tell us a little bit about Green Solutions International.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here. I really appreciate the opportunity to share with our people the work that we have been doing in Kitts and Nevis and across the Caribbean in the areas of green technology. What inspired us to start this company in 2017 is because we saw that there was a need for capacity building, for workforce development, for technicians in the solar, in the electric vehicle industry, in our federation and beyond in the Caribbean. So we started one of the first projects we did here that was funded by the UNDP Small Grants Program was to install a system at the Newton Ground Primary School. We installed that system. Since then, it's been working just fine and providing power to the school to offset the cost of the utility bill. And then we started by training people from SCELEC, from NEVLEC, other and technicians across the federation who wanted to pursue a career in the solar industry. So after doing this for some time in St. Kitts and Nevis, as I traveled throughout the Caribbean, I realized there was the same need. One of the things that we do, I don't know if to say to our detriment in the Caribbean, is that we love to bring in foreigners to develop projects that we have here, particularly solar projects, right? And then once these companies complete these projects, then they tend to leave. And then there's a gap, because when something goes wrong with the solar system, there's no one here on island to service or to maintain them.
Right.
And I believe that with the training and expertise that I brought to St. Kitts and Nevis, that we should do something about it. Hence, we started the company, and we were being focused heavily on really work development and capacity building in the region.
Tell us some of the projects that you are currently working on, whether it be in St. Kitts and Nevis or across the region.
Well, starting at home, I just left the CFBC. We are doing electric vehicle training and maintenance for mechanics, for first responders. Right now, today is the last day for that training. We have folks from the Fire and Rescue Department, from Public Works, and also from the Port Authority. We have some individuals that flew in from overseas, from Anguilla, from Turks and Caicos, to get this type of training, because we realize that, as the Minister Conway said yesterday when he visited the class, we're preparing the islands for an influx of electric vehicles. We need mechanics who to be trained in knowing how to disconnect high voltage components. We need the firefighters to be trained on what happens if there's an accident. How do you deal with the electric vehicle? How do you disconnect it? How do you make sure that you're operating in a safe environment, right? So that's going on this week. Last week we also had another course, which was the level 4, the advanced training course. And so we're finishing up this week with that project. In Guyana right now, we have a major project in Guyana where it involves several components. It involves training of women to make sure there's inclusivity in the workforce. It involves the installation of, I think, 8 solar plants in Guyana, and it also involves coaching and mentorship for the women as they go through the program. The project started about 3 months ago, and is scheduled to end in February of 2026. So We have the training program. We have instructors. We actually had local instructors. Actually, on a side note, I'm just going on a side note here, talking about capacity building. Greg Francis, who is a lecturer at AVIC, he was once one of our students in 2017 when we offered the course here. And now he has since built his home and is fully off-grid, fully sustainable. And now he's teaching classes for us in solar installation and so forth. So that's a success story that we can boast about locally.
You made mention of the training at CFBC. What has the response been like from the students and even with the fire and rescue services?
Oh, they're very pleased with the level of training and the level of detail and instruction that they're receiving from the training. Most of them, I should say all of them in the class, they're already mechanics. So they already understand automotives and how cars work, engines and so forth. Right. And they're very pleased. They've given excellent reports about the quality of the training that we have. We have very good instructors. We have the best of the best instructors that are working with us, people that are internationally renowned and internationally known and stuff like that. So we are very pleased, and the students in particular are very pleased. They've already asked for, when we're going to have the next training so that I can schedule ahead of time, and that's coming up soon, probably late this year, early next year. So they're happy with it.
What more you think can be done to support programs like these, the training opportunities that are being offered?
I just left a workshop over at the Marriott where we are talking about climate financing and stuff like that, right? And I understand that governments, funding agencies, other multilateral organizations, they normally fund these large projects, and individuals also pay for their own way to come and take this type of training. But I think if we're really supposed to move mountains like in these regions and have a big impact, we need more financing, we need more training, we need more capacity building to really help build up our infrastructure. We are right in the middle of the hurricane season right now. And, we have frequent power outages, right? I know that, a lot of people are not happy about that, but I think that and I know that the government, at least this government, is working on creating the environment to encourage more citizens to move towards renewable energy. And they're doing so by creating the policies necessary these policies are really meant to be short-term. In some countries, we have net metering, net billing, the feed-in tariff, those types of things to encourage citizens to really pursue renewable energy. So I think creating that enabling environment in the Federation through government policies will really help. And that might be able to also unlock financing from other multilateral organizations to be able to help train and develop our workforce locally.
For those of you who are just tuning in, you're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. It is 11:48 here in our studios, and we have with us Dr. Wayne Archibald of Green Solutions International, St. Kitts and Nevis Incorporated. Dr. Archibald, what are the biggest challenges that you face in getting people on board as it relates to clean energy or green energy solutions for both government and private sector to understand the importance of this?
All right, let me just take a step back and finish an answer that I was giving earlier, then I'll transition right into the question that you're asking right now. The project that we're doing in Guyana, why I like the design of that project so much, right, is because we're building 8 solar plants in Guyana, and we have 50 women that we train from regions 2, regions 5, 6, and 10, who we are providing them with the skills, the knowledge, the information, and the hands-on experience necessary to be able to get jobs in the solar industry. So they have internships that last up until February. And why that is so important, we did a similar thing in Montserrat actually, where we installed solar systems on all the health centers and the clinics and dental clinics in Montserrat. And the key thing in that for me was that we use local labor and workforce, right? We train people, we empower them, we give them jobs. There are a lot of people out there who want jobs and who don't have jobs, right? And they want this type of training. There's a great demand. I know because people have been reaching out to me personally and through our website and our social media platforms that there's a great demand for training, for workforce development, and for good paying jobs, right, where they can build their families and pay their bills and go on vacations and so on. So there's the demand for that. And the key thing in these projects is that they were built by local people, right? We had obviously contractors from other countries who support the work that we do, because after all, we're a company that's locally rooted but globally connected. That's our tagline, by the way. You know, so we have other people that come in and support the work that we do, but the heart of the workforce in building these solar plants is really local. And I think that's the key thing towards really towards economic development and really building a country that way, right? So now to answer your question, what was your question again?
The biggest challenges that you face.
Right. I think historically, right, across the Caribbean, because we operate in all countries across the region, historically there was always this reluctance, right, particularly for utilities to move towards renewable energy, to phase out fossil fuels and so forth, right? Because people think about their jobs and their security and all that kind of stuff. So we really had to, I mean, we look at, in the United States, for example, we signed the Paris Agreement. We were part of the Paris Agreement. Then a couple of years ago, we got out of the Paris Agreement. Then after that, we got back in the Paris Agreement. Now we're out again. You know, you know what I'm saying? So if we look at the trend that's going on around the world, I think most countries are actually trying to become more energy independent and self-sustaining. And we see what's going on in the Middle East. Now the cost of oil keeps fluctuating, and as the cost of oil goes up and comes down, then those costs get passed on to the consumers. Right. So you're paying more, right? And we are paying more whenever there's these dust-ups and stuff like that in the Middle East. So how do we deal with that? Through renewable energy. The sun is free, it's unlimited, right? There's a little upfront cost, which is one of the challenges that we have. But what we've done, particularly in Jamaica, through the Jamaica Energy Resilience Alliance that we created a few years ago, that was funded by USAID when that was a thing. You know, is that we work with the banks and the financial institutions and provided models for them in order to be able to provide low interest loans for the citizens. Okay. Right? Because that's one of the greatest barriers. A lot of people saying, even for their businesses, we want solar, right? But then there's a high upfront cost. The good thing about it is that over time, because of the high cost of electricity in the Federation, and we're talking specifically about St. Kitts and Nevis, I mean, I can talk for the rest of the Caribbean, but the payback period would be much shorter than if you get solar in the United States. Because we pay more per kilowatt hour here, and throughout the rest, I know the Virgin Islands probably a little bit higher than us, than anybody else in the world, really. You know, so the payback period for, you know, the initial upfront cost for solar would be a lot shorter and stuff like that. So that was one of the challenges. So what we want to do here in St. Kitts and Nevis is to work with the banks, the credit unions, and help provide some financial models for them that they can be able to, that our citizens can be able to access low interest loans, right? To get solar on their roof, to get their battery storage and so forth, so they're not affected by the frequent power outage, and it also helps the utility also in cutting some of their costs for the generation costs for fuel and so forth. So I think that we talked about this at the beginning, the financing aspect of it.
Yes.
I think that's one of the biggest challenges, because the education piece of it, we can educate people about solar, tell them how it works, the benefits, the maintenance and so forth. The education, the financing aspect of it, those are the things that really, because people fundamentally don't want to change, right? People get comfortable and they like what they're doing, they like where they're at and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I think that when it hits your pocketbook, then you start really thinking about it, right? And we are here to basically, well, I'm not here all the time because we go wherever the project takes us, right? Whether it's in Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana, Anguilla, the other OECS countries and so forth, the Virgin Islands. So, but we're here and we're easy to find, to help to educate people and to really help them gain their own energy independence, whether it's for the citizens or for the government or for any other entities that need our support.
Dr. Archibald, what makes the Caribbean an exciting region for green energy development?
We have sun 24/7, We have sunshine, we have beaches, we have, okay. Sunshine, I'll leave it at that. Right? But we have an abundance of sunshine, right? We're small islands. Everybody on this island can drive an electric vehicle. There's no reason why everybody on the island can't drive an electric vehicle, right? You don't have to buy no gas, right? It requires maintenance, but not that much maintenance, right? We are also teaching some courses over in Antigua about the end of life for electric vehicles and so on, and hybrid vehicles. And one of the things too, and I'm going off the topic here, but I like going off topic sometimes, is that there are a lot of people on the island right now do people call into this show?
Yeah,
okay.
You want to take some calls?
Yeah, people can call in. I'll be happy. Yeah, I've never had people call into a show where I am, so that'll be good.
Okay.
But anyway, there are a lot of people on the island right now with hybrid vehicles.
Yes.
Right? And I know this because they've told me they had hybrid vehicles. And the electric part of it isn't working. And there's no way for them to take it, to get it fixed. Right? So I told them, look, the next time we come back to do our workshop, we're going to set up those people that we're training right now, we're going to help them to set up some small garages and provide them with the correct tools and equipment and so on to be able to fix those problems for them.
What's the difference between the hybrid and the idle stop?
I don't even know what idle. The idle stop thing.
Somebody was explaining that. Is there a difference?
The hybrid vehicle is part electric, part gasoline, conventional. Right? It works on both.
Okay.
Right? The idle stop, and I'm no vehicle technician or anything like that, but I think I have one of them in St. Thomas. Okay. Right? It's just where the engine shuts down just to save on efficiency and gas and so forth and so on. So like when you stop at a light, it cuts out. Right? And then you give it some gas, it starts back up again and you keep moving. That's not a hybrid vehicle. Right?
Strictly idle stop.
Yeah, the hybrid vehicle has part electric. It's partly electric vehicle and partly conventional.
All right.
Yeah.
It is 11:57 though, Dr. Archibald, and the program is just 1 hour, 11 to noon.
Right.
But I think this is a conversation worth continuing. I think it is something that our people need to be educated on, because for me, one of my biggest concerns is the fact that what you mentioned, we have a lot of electric vehicles coming into St. Kitts and Nevis, but we don't necessarily have the mechanics and so on to maintain or to fix these vehicles.
Right.
And so it would be good to get our people trained and certified. When you mentioned the CFPC, I was really excited because I think I read something some time back where there's this partnership. And as you mentioned, I said, yes, that is what it is, where you're working with CFBC to get our students trained and so on. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the listening audience before we close?
Yes, well, maybe a little over a year ago, we launched the Center of Excellence for Research, Innovation and Workforce Training in partnership with CFBC. And what we bring to the table is basically the level of certification and training that doesn't exist anyplace else in the region, and that didn't exist in St. Kitts and Nevis until we came here, right? So the main certification body that we work with in solar is called the North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners, NAPCEP, right? And we provide this level of training and certification to our citizens and so forth. With the electric vehicle training, we do the IMI, the Institute of the Motor Industry, and also the TUV. It's a global certification. So that type of training and stuff like that is what we are bringing to the college in order to enhance and really build up their infrastructure and their programming and so forth. We've also provided mobile labs to these institutions, to AVIC also, and CFBC, and a curriculum where students coming in can say, well, I want to go and choose a path, a career in solar. And they can have access to the curriculum and stuff that will lead them to certification. But we started this company in St. Kitts and Nevis because this is where I'm from. As you know, there's a legacy of education here in St. Kitts with my father and stuff like that, and I guess I just had to go that path. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here. And I mean, I could be anywhere else. We can do projects any place else in the world, but there's nothing like contributing to your own local community and seeing our own people thrive and really get these jobs and be able to like support and maintain their families and so on. So thanks for this opportunity.
You're most welcome. You've been listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM, and I had Dr. Wayne Archibald, founder and executive director of Green Solutions International St. Kitts Nevis Incorporated. Until next time, you guys, stay safe. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Coming up now is our midday newscast.
Host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us